us. Just so that you all are aware, we are in webinar format, so you all cannot be seen or heard at the moment, but if you do have questions, please feel free to ask the questions using the chat, and those questions will go directly to our panelists. But this week, UT for Me is celebrating our first gen Longhorns by providing an amazing resource and opportunity for us to discuss financial aid and financing your education. We have the awesome pleasure of having two amazing financial aid advisors who work directly with our UT for Me students by supporting them and answering all of their questions. And we thought this would be a great opportunity for you all to get some of that important information as you all are planning for the next academic year. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Willow Lucas and Linda Kernan to introduce themselves and talk through their presentation. And like I said, please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions that you have.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Willow Lucas. I am a financial aid officer with UT for Me, powered by Dell Scholars. And this is my coworker, Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda, and Willow's going to go ahead and start with the presentation. When she's done with her portion of the presentation, we'll go through some real life screenshots of the actual FAFSA that you're going to be completing this year. So go ahead, Willow, go ahead and start with your presentation.
All righty. So we're going to go over financing your education, financial aid fundamentals, and the FAFSA application process for the 2021-22 school year already. That's going to be next fall. We're looking to define and identify types of financial aid, outline the qualifications for financial aid, explain the financial aid application process, and describe what happens after the financial aid application is submitted. So what is financial aid? As you guys probably know, financial aid is money that helps students pay for their educational expenses. That comes in the form of grants and scholarships, which you all know as free money. Also loans, work study, and tuition reimbursement. So how do you qualify for financial aid? The basic eligibility for federal financial aid is to be a US citizen or national, or be an eligible non-citizen. You need to have a high school diploma or the equivalent. You need to be enrolled in an eligible degree-seeking program, have a valid social security number. Males must be registered for the selective service, and this is very important. Satisfactory academic progress at UT must be maintained. That's a minimum of 2.0 GPA and a minimum of 75% completion rate. The types of financial aid that you may receive on your financial aid award letter are the Pell Grant, the Iraq-Afghanistan Service Grant, the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, the Teacher Education Assistance College and Higher Education Grant, boy, these are long names, Federal Work Study, Federal Direct Student Loans, and Federal Plus Loans. So how do you qualify for financial aid for state aid? You must be an eligible state resident and have completed the FAFSA and be generally eligible for the FAFSA. The types of state aid that you might receive on your financial aid award letter include the Texas Grant, the Texas Public Education Grant, and State Work Study. Other types of student aid that you may receive are scholarships. These are institutional and/or private scholarships. Merit-based or need-based scholarships. Now this is really important. The continuing student scholarship application has currently opened, is on your cash page. So you can go to your 21-22 status and requirements to apply for that application. You can also apply for scholarships through your school, like the Moody College of Communication or whichever school you may be attending. Those scholarships applications may be opening soon, so you'll need to talk to your school coordinators about that. Also the Texas Exes Scholarship. That scholarship opens January 1st, and it has a variety of scholarships on their website that you can apply for. You can also search for private scholarships through national scholarship search databases like fastweb.com. And if you are interested in community scholarships, you need to check with your local churches and community organizations to see whether or not there are any scholarship applications that you may be eligible for. If you are awarded work study, that means that you can get a job on or off campus, depending on the type of job. So there are some remote work jobs for students who are not going to be on campus, but most of the jobs will be on campus. That would be part-time work study employment. It's awarded based on your student need. That's on your FAFSA. You can't work more than 19 hours a week. And the way that you would look for work study, both on as a work study student who has an award or as a student who's interested in working on campus but does not have an award, is go to Handshake and look at the jobs available there. They will be labeled as work study or non-work study. All right, so on to filling out your FAFSA application. In order to complete your FAFSA application, you need to have a FAFSA ID available. That's going to be for both you and your parents. Your FAFSA ID allows you to electronically sign and submit the FAFSA once you have completed it. You would go to fafsa.gov in order to complete your application. The application opened October 1st, so it's open currently. We do recommend that you complete your FAFSA as soon as possible, but no later than January 15th, so that we will have plenty of time to complete your application and award you aid. So what about filling out the FAFSA application? What kinds of things are they going to ask you? They're going to ask you about your demographics. They want your school selection. They're going to ask you questions to determine your dependency status. If you are determined to be an independent student or a dependent student, they'll ask you about your parent demographics. They'll ask you about your financial information, and then you'll sign and submit the document. When they're asking you about your student demographics, they're going to be asking you your general information, your name, your date of birth, social security number, general contact information, whether or not you're a resident, citizenship information, some educational information, and whether or not you were considered a foster youth. Now you can add up to 10 colleges or universities on your FAFSA, but we all know you only need one, and that's UT Austin. Our school code is 003658. The application questions that are going to ask you about dependency status are going to include things like marital status, veteran status, whether or not you were an orphan or ward of the court. We'll just answer those questions as they come up. It uses skip logic, so some of those questions will come up and some of them may not. If you are determined to be a dependent student, then you will need to include your parents' information on the FAFSA as well. They will be asking about your parents' marital status, their names, their social security numbers, their date of birth, their residency, their household size, and whether or not there are additional students in college. When you get to the financial information on the FAFSA, we do recommend that you use the Irs DRT if possible. We are going to be asking for your 2019 income tax data for both the parents and the student, as well as asset information. We get a lot of questions about asset information. Assets include the funds you have in cash, checking, and savings on the day that you submit the FAFSA. So check your savings account, check your cash, and check your checking account to determine what you need to put on there for the day that you're filling it out, regardless of where those funds came from. The last thing you're going to do with the FAFSA is to sign and submit it. You'll review all of your information, and then the student and one parent will sign using your FSA ID. Once you've submitted the FAFSA, you'll get the student aid report, which summarizes your application information, gives you your estimated family contribution, and lets you know whether or not you were selected for verification. If you have an asterisk next to your name, next to the EFC on your student aid report, then you have been selected for verification. So what does it mean if you're selected for verification? Verification is a process that the school uses to confirm the information on the FAFSA is accurate. We may request additional information to confirm this data, like your 2019 income tax return transcript, W-2 statements, or other income-specific documents that we will provide to you. You will upload this information through your cash page so that we may review that information and complete your verification. Once your verification has been completed, we move on to calculating your student need. First, we calculate your cost of attendance. Your cost of attendance includes your tuition, books and supplies, miscellaneous personal expenses, room and board, and transportation. We calculate the student's need by taking that cost of attendance, the expected family contribution from the FAFSA, as well as any financial resources that you may have had from outside scholarships or tuition reimbursements, subtracting that from the cost of attendance, and determining your overall financial need. Once we've determined your financial need has been calculated and the file is considered to be complete, then you move into the awarding process, and we will award you based on your need, and you'll be notified via your cash page to accept your financial aid notification. Next, Linda is going to give you information on completing the FAFSA and an overview of the actual FAFSA application.
Thank you, Willow. That was a lot of information. It was great information. A lot of students fill out their FAFSA, not really understanding what the process is or what comes next, okay? So what I want to do today is really just go over with you what the FAFSA actually looks like this year. It does change from year to year. Last year, you may have had counselor or somebody that you know help you with the FAFSA, so you might not remember filling it out, but I'm going to show you a couple of screens here. Screens that we believe are probably the most challenging for students to complete. The most questions that we receive regarding the FAFSA come from these pages, okay? So this page here, first page that you're looking at is the login page, okay? So you're gonna go to fafsa.ed.gov. It's gonna take you over to this login page. It's important that because you are a returning user that you click login, okay? And once you click login, this FSA ID page will come up where you'll need to type in the FSA ID that you created last year. You, the student, are completing this form. This is your form. So anytime you're going through the FAFSA and you see a question that's asking you for your information, it is specifically referring to you, the student, not your parent or guardian. It will specify if it's requesting parent information, okay? So here you're gonna use your FSA ID to log in. If for some reason, just one more back, Willow. If for some reason you forgot your FSA ID, you can go ahead and click on the forgot password. Just one, if you don't mind going back one page, Willow. Okay.
That's the save key.
Yeah, there you go. So you'll see the second screenshot there is what it actually looks like when you, sorry,
I don't know what happened, sorry.
No worries, no worries. So I'll talk through it. So the second screenshot that you'll see when we get back to that page is actually the page where you type in your FSA ID. However, if you don't remember your FSA ID that you created last year, you can click on either, there you go, you got it, Willow. See where we highlighted forgot username or forgot password? As long as you set up your security questions, you used your email address, your current email address, you'll be able to reset that ID, okay? If you need more help with your FSA ID, that page will provide you with contact information so that you can reset that ID over the phone, okay? So you'll see that second page there is actually what it looks like when you reset your FSA ID. Okay, so this is the, once you've logged in with your FSA ID, then you're gonna see this page. This page here is going to actually show you last year's FAFSA too. So remember, that's the 2020-21 FAFSA. You've already completed that FAFSA. So don't click on that tab. Go ahead and stay on the tab that this page directs you to, which is the 2021-22 FAFSA, okay? So you're gonna click on FAFSA renewal, and it'll take you into this page, which is asking you to create a save key. So save key, it could be very confusing because you could think to yourself, hey, I already put in my FSA ID, what are they asking for here? Well, this is basically a 4-digit, 5-digit, 6-digit, whatever you'd like. It has to be a minimum of 4-digit save key that you are going to use to return to the FAFSA that you already started if you weren't able to complete it, or to make corrections to a saved FAFSA, okay? So make sure you write this number down, number or letters, whatever you decide to do, make sure you write that down so that when you have to come back with a parent, maybe with more information, or a guardian, or if you have some of your own personal information that you need to update, you have that and you don't have to start all over again. Okay, you can go ahead and hit that. Okay, perfect. Once you get into the FAFSA, you're going to type in your student demographic information. That's the information that's getting pulled over from last year's FAFSA. Make sure you type that in correctly. Make sure that it's updated in case they want to reach you. This page here that you're seeing is a school selection page. This is where you're going to click yes, or do you have your college's federal school code? And you can just type in the school code that we've provided to you today, which is 003658. Yeah. If for some reason you forgot the school code, you can click on federal school code, and then it'll allow you to search UT by state and city and even the name of the school. Okay. So once you've typed in the school code, you just you go on to the next page, which is household size. Okay. So household size is another one of those very common questions that we receive when helping students with the FAFSA. What your household is not everyone that lives in your home. Your aunt could live with you, your grandparents could live with you, and they're not necessarily part of your household for FAFSA purposes. So basically here, what you've done is you've already indicated your parent, okay? And in this situation, it already has, let's say, father's information, okay? So let's say you use father's information for this year FAFSA. So you're gonna put, that's already pre-populated for 1, okay? And then for yourself, which the FAFSA is already counting automatically, it automatically populates that to 1, okay? So it's keeping track for you, it's calculating, so you don't have to overthink this question, okay? So it already has your parent, it has you, now it's asking you, does your father have any other children that live with him and that rely on him for support? Okay, so that's going to be any of your siblings that live in the home. So in this situation, you would type 1, let's say if you have a sister or a brother. So then the system again automatically calculates that number and it gives you a total. For this student, if it's just him and dad, then the total household size would be 2. For another student that has 2 to 3 siblings, the household size could be 5. And now if your parent has another person, an adult that's living in the home that relies on them for their support, then you can type that number in too. Again, it automatically calculates, so there's no reason to worry. If you have any questions along the way through the FAFSA, there are question marks. Will, if you want to hover over the question mark, you can always click on those question marks and it'll give you a brief explanation of what you need to type in the box. Okay, so what is this Irs Data Retrieval we keep talking about? So it is a great tool that allows you to pull over yours or your parent and guardian's IRS information directly from the IRS site. What is so great about this tool is that it takes all the guessing game out of what to type into those boxes. What is challenging is that you must have your parents' tax return available with you to you so that you can see what address they use and type it in exactly like it is on the IRS, the return that your parent has for 2019, okay? So as long as you type in that address as it shows on the return, then you'll be able to link to the IRS and you'll be able to pull that information into your FAFSA, and then you won't have to worry about typing in figures that you're not really sure about. Because this is one of the biggest questions that we get. What do I put in line A? What do I put in line B for my parents' income? If you did not file, then it's not going to allow you to use this tool. It's simply going to be one of those questions that you answer that says, I don't file, and it's not going to ask you any more questions. Like Willow said, not every student asks every question. It's as you go along. All right, so if you are able to use this data retrieval tool, then you're going to go ahead and click there where Willa is pointing and click on transfer now, and that will automatically pull the information over into your FAFSA. Okay, All right, so that means we've gotten to the end of the FAFSA. We filled in your student demographics, you selected your school, we know your dependency status because you've gone through those questions, your parents' demographic, your parents' financials because you used the data retrieval tool or indicated that they did not file. Same with your financial information. So now all you have to do is sign and submit the FAFSA. But before that, there was a question that said, if you were a preparer, make sure you put no. That means that preparer is somebody that you pay or a service that's provided to you to prepare the FAFSA for you, okay? But once you hit no and you hit next, it'll take you to this page here where it says sign FAFSA, okay? Please note that there are 2 signatures required. It is your signature and your parent or guardian, okay? So once you click provide student signature and provide parent signature, it'll go ahead and show you that you've signed the form. It'll tell you that you have signed your FAFSA. Keep in mind that during the completion of your FAFSA, at some point you will be submitting your parent's FSA ID, and it will ask you for your parent's FSA ID. It'll say, please enter parent FSA ID, and that's how they're gonna be able to electronically sign their FAFSA, just like you have. Next. All right, and this is the confirmation page. Willow went over this a little bit. At the bottom of this page, it will give you a breakdown of your estimated financial aid. But I wanted to show you this page because it's very important. Unless you see this page at the end saying congratulations in your name and that your FAFSA was successfully submitted, then you didn't actually complete the FAFSA. We have a lot of students that go through, they sign the FAFSA, but they don't actually submit the FAFSA. So it's really important that you submit your FAFSA and that you get this confirmation page. And when you receive your confirmation page, print it, email it to yourself, save a copy, just to verify that you did complete the FAFSA for this year. All right, that was a lot of information. Once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A section. We have included some quick links to websites here that might be beneficial to you in completing your FAFSA, and then just general financial aid information. You will be sophomores next year, so you will already have the student aid information generated in the studentaid.ed.gov website, which will show how much you've borrowed in loans, how much like free money grants you received from the federal government, okay? If you have any questions after this presentation or wish to reach out to us individually, you can do that by emailing us either to the UT for Me email address or my email address, which you see there, or Willow's. Okay. All right, so we have a couple of questions here that I want to address. It says here that when student tries to link their parents' financials through the data retrieval tool, they get an error that they can't link to the FAFSA. We have seen this happen a few times depending on which browser you use. So if you're using Safari, then maybe try Google Chrome. I know this happens a lot with Mac computers as well. So definitely, if you don't already have Google Chrome or Safari downloaded, sorry, not Safari, Firefox downloaded to your Mac, do that and try it that way, okay? So let's see. Do parents fill out a separate form? No, parents do not fill out a separate form. Parents are going to be required to input their information in your FAFSA. So you're going to start the 21-22 FAFSA with your FSA ID, and when you get to the parent or guardian information, it will ask them to enter their FSA ID and to also enter their own information, which will be combined with your information to generate your FAFSA results. All right. I think we answered. Okay, so let me read here. Okay, so a student is asking if they are not able to complete the FAFSA electronically, how can they submit their FAFSA? Okay, so what you will need to do is you will need to print your FAFSA. Okay, so you will print the FAFSA and you will sign. Just a wet signature. Your parent will also have a wet signature, and they will mail it in. If for some reason you can't download the form, then you also may be having a browser issue, or you can reach out to myself or Willow at the UT for Me email address, and maybe we can help you with that, okay? See if we have any other questions. I think those are the only questions we have so far. I think we covered a lot of information in a short amount of time, so we understand that you may have more questions once you speak to your parents or once you start the FAFSA. So again, the best way to reach us is to reach out to us in the UT for Me email address, which you see here, utforme@austin.utexas.edu. And then we, which means Will or myself, will schedule a bookings meeting with you, which will allow us to share screens, and we can go through the FAFSA with you. And we're more than happy to do that with your parent present as well. Okay. Willow, you have anything you want to add?
I don't think so. The only thing I want to add is, make sure that you understand your satisfactory academic progress. If you need any help with that, or if you feel like you're not doing so well in any of your classes, or that might be an issue, please reach out to us individually so that we can talk about that with you. But that's something that you need to maintain, is that 2.0 GPA and the 75% completion rate. That's really important.
Okay, I'm going to go through here one more time, make sure we don't have any other questions that we didn't answer. And I think we've got them all. So if there aren't any other questions, that's it. That's all the information that we have for you. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to us through the UT for Me email address, and we'll get back to you promptly.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.